Hello there, welcome back to Jennie Designs with Paper and my 2024 Christmas card series. I'm working with new to me product, so get comfy and let's get crafty. In a first for me, a shop, inloveartshop, reached out to me via email and asked if they sent me some supplies, if I would try them out, and if I liked them, make a video about it. So here we are. All of the things, or most of the things in this haul were given by them. I did spend a few dollars. One thing I purchased was this paper pad. It's Christmas scenery. The next thing that I got was this die set. It's called Winter Gloves and Wooden Board. It's a sled and mittens. The next one was a freebie. I don't know what it's called. I looked on their website. It's kind of like an inlay heart die cut. I don't know. Then there was another one called Christmas cane and road sign. I can't wait to do this. It's like a candy cane, like signpost kind of thing. One of the other things I selected was their 9-grid stitched background die. And also, I picked up the little Christmas tree background die and a stamp set. So I have played with, fun thing, I have to show you this first. All of their die sets come with these cute little foxes that are wrapped around them. I think they're adorable. I do have to find some larger die pockets to go with them because I want to keep those foxes because I think they're adorable. But I also selected this stamp set. This is called the Christmas Wish. There we go. Christmas Wish stamp set. So I'm going to use 2 pieces of pattern paper and the sled and mitten die set to make a card today. So I'm using them. I've never used them before this video. This is my honest first time impression. So here we go. I did do all of the die cutting off camera, and I'm starting with just a little bit of ink blending. I've die cut the sled boards out of some kind of craft cardstock, and I'm going to use Concord and 9th brown ink to ink blend the edges and maybe define the edges of the slats a little bit. I started with a really light brown. It was just a little bit too light. So eventually I traded up for a darker ink. Let me open my drawer and tell you what that ink color ended up being. Wheat. I started with Pebble and then I upgraded to Wheat. And I did use the remaining ink on this blending mat to kind of pick up with the brush and go along the inside slats as well. This die set also comes with a sentiment die. It says it's Freezen season, and Freezen has an outline and a word, or the detail word. So I cut Freezen out of a white glitter paper, and the die cut just fine. I did put my metal shim into my Impress die cut sandwich because it was a cheap glitter paper, and sometimes you need that. It also comes with 2 mittens, and I die cut the mittens out of one of the green pattern papers. It was unnecessary. I could have just used cardstock. You can't see the pattern in it. It's okay. You live and you learn. I did cut the cuffs and the string for the mittens out of a little scrap of red cardstock from my scrap stash. So other than the cardstock, the cardstock and 1 embellishment that I use. So the cardstock, the glitter paper, and 1 embellishment, everything comes from the inloveartshop. So in assembling the sled, I couldn't decide if I wanted to put foam tape behind those runners or not, and I opted not to. I think it would have looked better. I think next time I use this, I will definitely put a little bit of foam tape between the sled runners and the boards because it'll give it a little bit of dimension. So the pattern paper that I chose is this gray snowflake print, and I chose a dark green cardstock or card base, kind of the same color as the mittens. And I'm doing a landscape card. So this card will be 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches, but it's 5.5 wide and 4.25 inches tall. And I have taken one of my sloped hill dies and trimmed off the edge of this glitter paper. And I'm going to line it up along the bottom. The idea was that the sled kind of looks like it's heading down a hill. It works-ish. I did trim off the edges of the glitter paper with my guillotine trimmer there, and then I just cleaned up the edge of the card base. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this panel down to the card base first. I'm using my ATG double-sided adhesive. And I finally remembered after editing this video to take that piece of cardstock that was stuck to the top of my ATG. I remembered to peel it off while I was editing this video. Okay, now it is assembly time for the sled, and I opted to go bottom left to top right. It probably would have looked more like it was going downhill if I'd gone the other way. I did put foam tape on the back of the sled. I did decide to pop that up. I still think it would look really awesome if the foam tape was between the layers of the sled. So this is the Altenew big roll foam tape. That's what I'm using right now in my craft room. So I am going to go ahead and diagonally lay that down on the front of the card. I am going to add these little mittens just across the top there. I'm putting a tiny bit of glue on that little string that holds the mittens together and kind of sort of sliding it under that little board on the sled. And then I put a little dot of glue underneath the mittens. Now I'm going to go ahead and figure out where I'm going to put my sentiment. And I opted to put the words up in this top left-hand corner. I'm not going to even try to make sure that they're evenly spaced or straight or anything. There are 2 snowflake dies that were beautiful dies, and they cut through this glitter paper really, really nicely with the shim and going back and through a couple of times. But they were kind of too big for what the space I have left on the card. So on my desk, I still had the Simon Says Stamp Winter Flurries shaker mix from the card I made the other day. So I just dumped a few of those snowflakes into a tray. I did pop up the Freezen word with that same foam tape, and then I'll just glue the its and season down with regular liquid glue. I'm using my Barely Arts glue because it has that fine tip nozzle. Wow, that was a hard word. So we're just going to go ahead and put and like I said, I'm not even trying to make sure these are going on straight because I think it just looks cute if they're not. So I am going to use 5 of the pink snowflakes in this mix, and it's really hard to see them on video, I noticed. You can kind of see the one that ends up on top of the sled. But the ones that I put on the snow and on the snow pattern paper, or the glitter paper and the snow pattern paper, they don't show up very well on video. They're like a pink iridescent. I think in the photos you can see them a little better. I did go ahead and use the Barely Arts glue to stick the snowflakes down. But these snowflakes have a hole in the middle, and it was kind of obvious to me for, like, in this particular project. I'm not sure why I disliked it more than normal, because I got a bee in my bonnet. But I have these baubles in my embellishment bin on my desk, and I think they're left over from like a Tailored Expressions, online card making event thing. But they're completely see-through. So I grabbed my, what is this called? The glossy accents to glue them down with. Also, it's a really strong adhesive, so it will hold those baubles on that are a little bit more dimensional than some of the other things I typically use on my card. But the glossy accents will hold that down really nicely. So I'm just fiddling around trying to get them turned over. And then I'm going to add this Christmas stamp. I'm going to use this one that says Merry Christmas. Now, this die set could be used for winter birthdays. It could be used for any wintertime card that you want to send. I did happen to decide to make it a Christmas card because I am trying to get in as many Christmas cards as I can before Thanksgiving so that I can get them in the mail. I mean, I'll still be making them after, but I want to get the bulk of my Christmas cards mailed right after Thanksgiving. So I picked that green cardstock. It's the same color as the card base, and I used my anti-static powder tool because I'm going to heat emboss this sentiment. So I'm going to stamp it up with Versamark ink, and I did stamp it twice. I will say that these stamps are more like silicone than photopolymer. They're a little bit like first gen, but it's stamped just fine. I pulled a little pot of silver embossing powder. This might even be a Stampin' Up! One. It is old. It's old. Embossing powder lasts forever. So I'm going to go ahead and heat set that, and then I'm going to trim. Well, after it dried, or it cooled off rather, I went over it with my microfiber rag, and that is just to take the anti-static powder off the top of my cardstock. It wipes right off. So I did trim it down off camera because, well, I didn't realize I was off camera when I trimmed it down. And I'm going to glue it on with that glue. But this little snowflake right there on the edge is just a little bit too low. So I just kind of peeled back the layer a little bit and shoved it right under the edge of that snowflake, and winner, winner, chicken dinner. So I'm going to add the copy paper to the inside of my card. It's all over my desk. All in all, first experience with these dies, I think that they cut really well. I had no issues with them. The paper's a little thinner than some of the other pattern papers I purchased, but no big deal. I did decide to zhuzh up the mittens a little bit with my Wink of Stella glitter pen, and I just added a little bit of glitter on top of the mittens and the mitten string. And that was just because I felt like you could not really see the pattern in that pattern paper. It was a green on green. So it just added a little something something to the mittens and kind of finishing touch for the card. inloveartshop did give me a coupon code, so if you're interested, I will put that down in the description box below. And thanks for hanging out with me today. Hope you enjoyed this video. A couple of other videos here I think you would like. I've also added that subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you did. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Leave me a comment down below, and have a really fabulous day.